From the bustling streets of Athens and the historic port of Hydra, to the beaches of Zakynthos and the villages of Kythera, our journey over the coming weeks spans many of the Ionian Islands. Some well known, others that few ever get to visit. But before heading off, you probably want to know a little bit about me. My story starts as a boy growing up in the inner suburbs of Sydney. Like a lot of Greeks early last century, my parents moved overseas to find a better life abroad. They arrived with very little and worked extremely hard to give my sisters and I a loving upbringing. They also made me believe that if I too worked hard enough, I could achieve anything. 54 years later, I've built a successful business, and that has enabled me to do things I once only dreamed of. One of those dreams was to step foot on all 227 inhabited Greek islands, and I'm going to take a big chunk out of that in this first series.
Athens, cradle of civilization. And what better place to see it than at the top of Mount Lycabettos. Right over there is the Acropolis. That was the power base 2,500 years ago. This is just such a wonderful sight and the best place to start my journey.
Okay, you're probably thinking this is going to be another one of those boring travel or documentary shows with some fish out of the water presenter spruiking the same old locations he knows nothing about. Well, before you reach for that remote, let me tell you, this is in my DNA. It's a story that I've been breathing and following for 45 years. I'm going to take you on a personal journey of discovery through one of the most historic and picturesque places on Earth, Greece. Yeah, I'm Greek, and yes, I'm biased, but that's given me the opportunity to show you things in many instances have never been filmed before. Once you've seen what I'm going to show you in the coming weeks, you're going to be dancing on tables, growing olives, smashing plates. You'll be wishing you had a little bit of Greek in you. Mind you, you probably do. We've been sowing our seeds in every corner of the globe for 2,500 years. This is my pride and joy. Her name is Mia Zoe, which is Greek for one life. This beautiful lady has already taken me to some incredible places that people never get to see. But this time, I look forward to sharing that journey with you. I arrived in Greece early to check on the makeover of Mia Zoe, which included a new interior and fitting some stabilisers. As calm as the Greek waters can be, my beautiful wife wanted things a little steadier when there's a wave or two. And trust me, Helen is the most gentle of ladies, but rock that boat with her in it, and she makes Poseidon's Fury look like playtime at poolside. While all this was going on, I had some time up my sleeve to get reacquainted with Athens. Normally when I fly in, I head straight out to sea, so it was a nice change to spend the week in this great city.
Kalimera!
Clearly I'm no Adonis, but I do my best to keep a few kilos off. And when the sun's up, I'm up. And the first thing I do is my morning exercise.
Always happens. I think I'm lost. Always happens to me when I run around Blaka and Monastidaki.
Now, most places are closed at this time. Greeks generally operate on relaxed business hours that start a little later than in your average city.
Kalimera sas. Kalimera.
But you can always rely on a periptero to be open to grab a paper and a drink. And there's a particular one I've been visiting for years.
One of the classic institutions exclusive to Greece is the periptero. You can buy almost anything here, and they're on every corner, in every village, on every island, all through Greece. This one's classic because it's at the bottom of Syntagma, and my good friend Pavlo is there. Γεια σου, Παύλο.
Γεια σου, Παναγιώτη.
Τι γίνεσαι?
Όλα καλά, εσύ?
Τα νέα σου?
Ευχαριστώ.
Fantastic. I need this water. I've just been running.
Στην υγεία σου.
Στην υγεία σου. Pavlo, you've been here 30 years.
Yeah, I've been here about 30 years, yes.
What a great accent. Where does that accent come from?
I spent a few years, I mean about 12 years in the United States, in Chicago, yeah.
Wow. So how many hours a day you spend here?
About 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yeah, I'm one of the lazy Greeks.
Really?
Yeah, I'm lazy. Because that's what the Europeans say, the Greeks are lazy.
You bought this business?
No, you don't buy it actually. This business belonged to war veterans, and they gave them the kiosk so they have an income.
Right.
Because the state could not give them enough money to live, so they gave them the kiosk to make a living.
What I want to know, Pavlo, I'm looking at that little space in there. How do you work in that space 12 hours a day?
Yeah, actually now I'm used to it, you know, they must...
Well, after 30 years you expect it, wouldn't you? You have a stool in there? Do you have a stool?
Yeah.
You got to have a stool. I couldn't stand up 12
I
hours
cannot
a day.
stand
No
all
way.
day. No.
Yeah. Well, you know, now I've had my water, I need to go and have a coffee, Pavlos, so I'm going to get going. Thank you very much. Yes,
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Yeah.
Χαιρετισμούς στην Αυστραλία.
Yeah.
Athens is one of the oldest cities in the world. It's the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, modern medicine, mathematics, free speech, and the power for you and I to vote for our elected officials. The city is also packed with ancient ruins, many of which are amongst the most recognisable sites on the planet. In this one spot just beside Blaka, you can walk around the architecture of several different civilisations and see the Parthenon, Hadrian's Library, Monastiraki and its flea markets, the Roman Agora, churches and mosques. There's 2,500 years of storytelling that shows how different cultures have left their mark on Athens. And you can do this in 3 hours or 3 days. It's a must.
Benaki Museum. I've been coming here 40 years and never been to that museum. There's always a first time.
A great way to learn about Greece's history is by visiting one of the many museums in Athens. I'm told there are over 200 of them, so you're spoilt the choice. But one that's particularly important and often overlooked is the Benaki. I met with Dr. George Manginis, who is considered one of the foremost Greek art historians.
And the classical periods.
I love the classical period. This is my favourite. I'm Greek. Why is this a special museum?
Because it's the only museum in Greece and perhaps in the world that shows Greek history from prehistory through to classical antiquity, Byzantium, early modern Greece, the War of Liberation from 1821 to 1830, and all the way to World War II and beyond. So we even have contemporary Greek culture. You cannot find that anywhere else. It's the only museum that features it. So that's what makes it uniquely special.
And it's all thanks to him.
It's all thanks to him.
The museum was established by Andonis Benakis, an art collector who believed in the tradition of national benefaction. Within his lifetime, he donated much of his fortune and collection to the Greek state, so people would have access to artefacts significant to their culture. It's a testament not only to his legacy, but the proud history of Greece.
He was the visionary who brought all this into this country. He gave it to the Greek nation, and he allowed the museum to introduce to this country the latest trend from abroad and also be original and improvise worldwide.
To be honest, I have a short attention span when it comes to the arts, but there was so much diversity about this museum that I never got bored. You literally walk 20 metres and you've passed 500 years of history. If you haven't got time to visit the 200-odd museums in Athens, then come to this place and get a crash course in Greek history.
Doctor, I'm amazed. In a few short hours, we've gone from the Bronze Age to the 20th century. Doing that in one museum is just amazing.
Isn't it? You need a lot of time for it, but you can come on a Thursday. It's open all day until midnight, and you can even have a drink at the bar.
Well, should we go and have a drink now?
It is not Thursday, okay? Remember.
As strange as the marching might look, what's going on here is quite serious and steeped in tradition. These are the Evzones. They're an elite ceremonial guard unit that protects the presidential mansion, as well as the tomb of the unknown soldier. Apart from their slightly unusual parading technique, they're also known for their striking uniforms, which are handmade in the barracks.
Και αυτό πόσο καιρό να κάνει να φτιαχτεί?
Αυτό θέλει 6 μήνες για να φτιαχτεί.
6 μήνες.
6 μήνες στο χέρι.
6 months.
Αυτό το κομμάτι εδώ.
6 months to make this. So this is all the needlework that you see on the reverse side, and when you turn it over, you actually can't see the base cloth. It's all wool stitch.
This part of the Evzones regalia is called the fustanella. It's important because it has 400 pleats that represent the 400 years of Ottoman occupation. There are 2 halves to it, each of which have 18 metres of material.
This perimeter going from here all the way to the end is 80 metres. Αυτό είναι για τα 400, έτσι?
Ναι, για μία φουστανέλα.
Μια φουστανέλα. 80 metres. They've got 80 metres of fabric wrapped around them.
Δύο τέτοια κομμάτια, ένα δεξιά
Ναι, και ένα αριστερά.
Another important part of the outfit is the tsarouchia, their shoes. These create the thunderous sounds of marching, and like the rest of the uniform, are made by hand.
So, George is just saying to me that they actually put together everything. The stitching here, which is just a decoration stitching, he does. The stitching to form it when they nail it together, he does. There's nothing that's made by machine. There is nothing here that is done externally. They do it all themselves. It's very impressive.
It takes a week for one pair to come together, and George the cobbler has been making them for over 25 years. Only he and his apprentice know how to make them, so it's an incredibly specialised craft.
This is a platoon of 15 Evzones offering honors to the flag and the platoon commander. They can't sit down. They have to stand all the time until we arrive at the Acropolis.
One of the significant roles the Evzones play is raising the flag on the Acropolis. It happens every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. sharp, rain, hail or shine. It's a rare honour to be invited, let alone be escorted by Lieutenant Galantzis, third in command of the Presidential Guard's 2 battalions.
Lieutenant, I noticed that you and I and the driver and just a couple of the boys, the only one sitting down, you mentioned the Evzones have to stand.
Yes.
What is the reason for that?
It's a matter of respect to the uniform that they always have to stand. All the people, one of the reasons that they are proud for Evzones is that they can stand and take all the difficulties through their duty and still stand still.
Right. I noticed it's the only sound we can hear is the sound of the tsarouchia
Yes.
on the marble.
Nothing more. They are not allowed and they don't speak when they are dressed with their uniforms.
Yes.
They only walk to the Acropolis when they are on their duty. They just stand. They can't even move their eyes. That's the way we train them. When they come to Presidential Guard, we train them for 6 weeks. We are trying to learn them the idea to be Evzone.
So as soon as they put the uniform on, their whole being changes because they become part of that uniform. They
Yes,
become part
yes,
of
that's right.
that historical
That's right.
importance of being an Evzoner.
Yes, that's right. That's
It's
right.
very special, very special.
The Evzones are known for being heroic, none more so than Konstantinos Koukidis. Here on April 27, 1941, during the first days of Nazi occupation in World War II, he refused the orders of a German officer to surrender the Greek flag and raise the swastika. In a moment that lives in legend, Konstantinos wrapped the Greek flag around him and leapt to his death. It's a story that in many ways encapsulates the passion and loyalty of these soldiers.
You know, Lieutenant, I've been to the Acropolis 20 times, but I've never been in such a solemn, quiet moment. You could hear a pin drop. It's amazing.
Yes, that's right. When we come here at the Acropolis for raising or lowering the flag, the civilians there are no civilians here.
Not allowed.
No,
Nobody else allowed. It's
No,
just
nobody.
the troop and that's it.
Just us. Just us.
Impressive.
What I love about this is that the band isn't playing to entertain a crowd or a group of dignitaries. It's essentially serenading the flag and honouring the traditional raising process and all that it symbolises.
Lieutenant, I can hear and I can feel the tsarouchia hitting the ground. What is that significance?
The significance of this noise that we make with our tsarouchia is that our ancestors hear us that we are alive and free.
Unbelievable. I can feel the hairs on my arms as we say in Greek, anatrichiasa.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
From the Acropolis, we made our way back to the barracks to follow the whole troop along their route to the presidential palace. Like the flag racing, the parade happens every Sunday. However, it's open to the public to watch. If you're unable to be here for this spectacle, then at least make the time to see the hourly changing of the guard. While it's not of this scale, it's still quite impressive.
I see the sweat, the hard work, the patience, the discipline that is involved in this must be unbelievable.
Yes, yes. That's why we train them and we press them to the limits so they can take the difficulties and still stand without moving, without any expressions, without nothing, like statues.
Lieutenant, you should be proud of what you're doing. It's
Yes,
fantastic.
yes, I'm very proud. I'm very proud to be part of the Presidential Guard.
Excellent.
I ended up spending a couple of days with these guys learning about their practices. It still amazes me how as soon as that uniform went on, they never spoke a word or looked me in the eye, always maintaining absolute discipline. Such is the self-control that on a hot summer's day, it's not uncommon for Evzones returning to the barracks after guard duty to collapse into the arms of a colleague at the sound of a sergeant calling for at ease. Now that's dedication.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
This is Salamis Bay, a short distance west of Athens. In the present day, it's a relatively busy waterway flanked by urban development, but some 2,500 years ago, it was the scene of one of the most significant naval battles in history. You've probably seen the movie 300. Well, the sequel to that was centred around battles that occurred right here, and the main character is the general and politician Themistocles.
Battle of Salamis was a naval battle between the Greek ancient cities and the Persian Empire. Athenians had 200 triremes, the rest of the Greeks had 200 more, so 400 ships against 1,200 Persians. So Themistocles sent an informer down there to a Gallo mountain where the Xerxes, the emperor of the Persians, was waiting to see his fleet fight. He gave the false information that the Greeks are about to leave. You have to rush and you have to catch them on the Salamis Straits.
Yes.
So actually the Xerxes believed him and sent his fleet immediately the next morning to enter the Salamis base. So the Greeks had to fight in this area. And as Themistocles predicted, everything went just fine. The Persian fleet could not maneuver easily. They were not...
And this happened just here?
Yeah, just down there.
Right here?
Down there, yeah, there. So the Persian fleet was defeated. This naval battle was not only important for Greece, but it was important for the rest of the Europe, because Persians never again attempted to move to the west, and that gave the opportunity for the Western civilization a few centuries later to emerge and become the great power and the great spirit. So Europe would not be the same.
We may not be speaking the same language and we may not be the same religion today if it wasn't for Themistocles.
Everything would be different.
Wow, wow. And it all happened right here.
Right here.
You know, Captain, I'm wondering how Xerxes felt when he was up there watching his fleet, like you said, lose, because he had never lost a battle, he'd never lost anything, he was a winner all his life, and he came here and lost.
It was not just a disappointment, it was a humiliation, because the Persian emperor was considered as a god, not as a human being.
Yeah.
So for everybody, not just for him, it was a great humiliation.
Well, because gods could not get anything wrong.
Of course.
And so his soldiers, his navy would have seen that Xerxes did have a fault, and he wasn't a god.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
This turning point in history can't be understated. Only after the defeat of the Persians did the Athenian culture flourish, and the development of science, democracy and philosophy subsequently proliferate throughout Western civilization.
This is where Xerxes stood when his fleet came in from the Saronic Gulf to battle with the Greek ships, the triremes. Through this small channel, the god king was annihilated and turned into a mortal man. The look on his face at that time would have been something to see.
In my early high school years, I studied history, but coming here and visualising it gives me a sense of excitement I've never felt before. Themistocles wasn't a noble, but one of the first great leaders that came from the masses. And being one of the common folk, I'm sure that if he was around today, he would definitely join me for some Greek fast food.
When you're in Athens, come down to Monastidaki and come to any one of the restaurants, doesn't matter which one really, and have a gyros. Now there's two styles of having a gyros. You can have it either in an open plate, or if you're on the run, and the traditional way is as a wrap. Now you can have it as pork, chicken, or lamb. I prefer pork. And I'll tell you what, these morsels are absolutely awesome. I'm starved, we've been shooting all day, so I'm gonna go hard. Oh, absolutely magnificent. Wash it down with a glass of wine, or in my case, because I'm driving, a glass of water.
Okay, so the first things that come to mind for most people when you ask them about Greek food are olives, souvlaki, moussaka, and more olives, all eaten with a glass of ouzo on the side. Well, being an ancient civilization that's spread across hundreds of islands, the food here is actually very diverse. Every region has its own flavours, which I'll be exploring throughout the series. But here in Athens, one of the best things to wrap your lips around is the gyros or kebab. It's simple, cheap and delicious. Being a largely island nation, Greece naturally has a long, colourful history with the sea. We've always been a seafaring people, be it as traders, travellers, or as a naval power. These maritime ways have led to many of Greece's most notable moments and created great wealth for the nation. I've always felt at ease, being surrounded by the sea, and this led to my love of ships and maritime history, which brought me to a museum located a short walk from where my boat was dry docked.
What is the Laskaridis Foundation?
Its main aims are to promote civilization and Greek letters, but its main occupation is historical libraries and educational programs for school children. We have a large maritime collection, which consists of a Nelson collection, which is personal items. There are some 96 letters handwritten by Nelson himself, mostly to other officers of the Navy, and a number of them also to Lady Emma Hamilton.
Have you read any of those letters to Lady Hamilton?
Well, some of them are here, and you can see some of them.
I'd love to go and see some more of the buildings, some of these artefacts. Let's go.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
The collection is vast and varied, with every piece having a story to tell. You could easily spend a half a day here.
They are built out of bones used for food of the French prisoners of war during the Napoleonic Wars.
So they crafted these from the bones of the food they ate while they were imprisoned in these old ships that were anchored out just off the shoreline.
Yes.
How impressive is that?
Even more amazing is that the model rope twining is actually made from human hair of the prisoners themselves. Wow! The Laskaridis Foundation is a treasure trove of rare books and maritime goodies that make you feel like a kid in a toy store.
This is the first printed edition of the Odyssey, Iliad and the Odyssey actually. This volume is the Odyssey, the second volume. As you can see, it's one of the earliest printed books. It's from 1489.
It's a very, very impressive part of your library, I see.
Yes, of course. We do have a collection of early printed editions of Greek books, and this is one of our best. We're most proud of it, of course.
What really intrigued me about this collection wasn't just the fascinating items within it, but the man behind it all. Similar to the Benaki Museum, this establishment came about through the passion and philanthropy of a wealthy Greek man and his vigilant wife, who for various reasons saw it fit to give back to the nation they were so fond of.
For someone to put their time and resources to create something like this, it's exceptional.
You know, time and resources, as you say. Time, I'm lucky because I, by some weird miracle of nature, I need very little sleep. So I sleep very little, so I have a lot of time to spend on many things. So I'm I'm a kind of a busybody.
How much sleep do you get?
Maybe 4 hours a day.
So you're a naval man. All the captains, they're like that. I would think that in another lifetime you would have been an admiral.
Maybe. So that's one thing. Secondly, resources and money, There is an Arab saying that says that money is like dung. If you keep it close to you, it stinks. But if you spread it in the field, it produces good crops.
Yes.
So, I have been very lucky in terms of wealth in my life without really working that hard. So it's time to, and we have a big crisis in Greece here, and
yes.
I feel we should all do a little bit, whatever one can. There are others who do much more, others who do less, so everybody should do.
Well, you're right up there in people that have done things.
No, it's okay.
We spent hours together. The whole time, Panos never mentioned how he and his brother are shipping tycoons, owners in the national airline, and stable the best hotels and properties in Greece. It shows how humble and giving a man he is. He uses his time and wealth to both educate and inspire future generations, and wishes for nothing in return. He's somewhat of a role model for those more fortunate in the world. Greece is uniquely positioned at the maritime trade centre of 3 continents: Europe, Africa and Asia Minor. Consequently, it has always had a comparably large navy for such a small populace. Everyone has wanted a piece of these beautiful islands, and we Greeks have needed to defend the place. Something I was really looking forward to was spending the day with Captain Sandoulis, discovering all the different types of vessels in the Greek navy. It's every little boy's dream, and I'm just a big kid at heart.
The Greek Navy, the Hellenic Navy, is probably one of the oldest navies in the world.
Indeed, and you're quite correct, because the history of the Hellenic Navy is pretty much goes way on the way to the history, probably starting from the Trojan Wars. There's strong traditions within the Hellenic Navy, as pretty much everywhere with the rest of the navies. However, as correctly said, we follow all those traditions through the years, and we're quite proud of those traditions.
The tradition started over 2 millennia ago, and many still hold true to this day. But where did it all start? This trireme is the Olympia, and the only one of its kind. It's a replica that was built to better understand how these ancient vessels operated, and more so, to learn what made them so dominant in the naval battles fought in the Mediterranean.
Wow. This is a reconstruction of the ancient Athenian trireme, and it's a very good example of experimental archaeology. It was built from 1985 to 1987. It's a replica of the trireme of the 5th BC period, the period of the Persian Wars.
2,500 years ago?
Yeah, that is correct. She was built in Greece by Greek shipbuilders, and we are very happy from the results.
Wow. Can we have a look at more of the boat?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
So they would sit here like this, and there'd be a guy right next to him and a guy right below him as they rowed.
That's correct. A total of 170 oarsmen. It was the largest amount, the largest number of oarsmen for a ship at that time. That gave the ship a tremendous speed of 9 to 10 knots.
What made this a more special boat in things like the Battle of Salamina than, say, the Persian boats it was up against?
To me, what is important is that crew were free citizens and not slaves.
Wow.
They were fighting for their home. They were not mercenaries. They were doing what they had to do.
Triremes allowed the Greeks to dominate the Mediterranean some 2,500 years ago, and the slipways from these times still exist today around Zao Marina in Athens. In recent times, the Hellenic Navy has maintained its position as a significant regional power by modernising its fleet. This strong naval tradition is a source of pride for the people, and harks back to ancient times when wooden vessels, powered by hand and wind, took the place of the steel giants you see today. One of the vessels that helped protect our waters for a half a century was the Yorgos Averov, built in 1911, and one of the last ships of its era.
Actually, this is the only ship in this size that has fought in both World Wars.
Is that right?
First and Second World War, that's correct.
Wow.
And additionally, it fought in the Balkan Wars, and due to her actions, Greece duplicated the territory. It is considered as an acting ship. It has a commanding officer, it has a regular crew, and whenever a Greek Navy ship comes in the vicinity, we salute the ship. We give all the honors that require as if we meet a ship with an admiral.
Wow.
Greece's current navy is quite modern, and although I saw a lot, I'm actually not allowed to show you much of it. But what I can tell you is that it was designed specifically to defend Greece's multitude of islands. While I was really impressed with how powerful the Hellenic Navy is, what surprised me most was how welcoming the officers and crew were.
Oh, that's classified as well. But I can walk through though.
Yes, of course, we can have a tour.
Can you take me through?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try and do this. I don't think it's made for big people like me. Hopper. That's heavy. That's 7 kila, 7 kilos. Wow, look at this. Look at this. This is fantastic. Man, what a buzz. That was sensational. I'll tell you, I can't get over it.
Mertilo Cafe is hidden in a leafy part of Athens called Panoromou. The cafe is a community co-op that employs Athenian teenagers with disabilities, giving them experience in the workforce. This subject is close to my heart, so I had to drop in and meet the president of the co-op, Georgia Rafan.
People with disability into the mainstream market. We try to train them, and we have a training program, and they also work properly here. They're salaried with proper salaries and insurance, and they make an exit to life. They are very, very interested because they feel that the cafe belongs to themselves, to the enterprise. They are the masters and servants of this business at the same time. Masters and servants of themselves.
Of their own destiny.
In this way, the cafe is an innovative business because
I'd love to go and meet some of them.
Pardon?
Can we meet some of the staff?
Of course, let's go.
This is far from your average cafe business. Their day-to-day costs are much higher. Having to pay for psychologists and occupational therapists adds up. But they keep moving forward because of employees like Sophia, who is the administrative assistant and always very busy.
The idea is fresh, it's new, there's nothing like it, and we are changing people who were not given a chance to do something with their lives and feel useful. Here they are given that chance, and it's what gives people hope for a better future. We need to have a chain of Myrtilos running so that other people like us who have some sort of physical or mental disability can have the same opportunity we did of having work experience on a resume, social integration with the community, and being happy, knowing that you can actually...
That you're adding value to the world. I think it's
adding value to the world, yeah.
Sydney, you're like me.
Meeting Georgia and Sophia, as well as the rest of their team, was both humbling and inspiring. And by the way, the coffee was great too. Religion plays a huge role in the life of most Greeks. It runs throughout the fabric of our culture and is practiced at some level by almost everyone here. As a Greek, I've been going to church all my life, but ask me to explain what it all means, and I'll get it wrong. So to clarify what Easter in Greece is all about, I asked Father Rafan to help. His story is an interesting one. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland, and met a Greek girl at university. They ended up getting married and came to Greece on a holiday. He fell in love with the people, religion, and of course the country as a whole. It's this love that led him to becoming a priest. Oh, and by the way, the girl he fell for was Georgia from the cafe.
Over 90% of people born in Greece are Greek Orthodox. Why is that so?
When the Greek state was established less than 200 years ago, it was established as an enclave for Orthodox Christians within the Ottoman Empire. And so it had a religious identity from the very beginning. That identity was something that the Greeks had paid a high price for. They had, living as Christians within the Ottoman Empire, it had a cost. But when they came into the church, they found here they had something that made it all worthwhile. They found a freedom in the church that made slavery worthwhile. So that sense of being Christian and Orthodox was deeply rooted in them because they had paid so high a price for being Christians. And people don't think of their roots very often, but yet during Holy Week, which we are celebrating, then they remember, this is where we come from. And they find themselves, as it were, in all the services of Holy Week, the sense of the suffering and the resurrection, which was that light of the resurrection was what had always given them such hope and comfort.
Throughout the year, there are all sorts of religious festivals and celebrations with century-old customs being practiced. But the biggest and most important one is Easter.
Throughout Holy Week, there is the services in the church tell the story of everything leading up to Easter, starting, of course, on Palm Sunday with Christ's entrance into Jerusalem. And then by Thursday, we talk about Christ celebrating the Last Supper with his disciples and giving to his disciples, saying, "Do this in remembrance of me." Following that Last Supper, that the whole story of the Passion gathers pace. It's after that he goes into the garden, he goes to Gethsemane, he is arrested, he is taken to the high priest, he's taken to Pilate, he is crucified. And so it is after that event on Thursday, it's a key event that sets everything else in motion.
Thursday's events are centred around the Last Supper, and in preparation for Friday's epitaph, women in each congregation help decorate the tomb, or epitaphio.
People, as they come to the crucifixion, always bring flowers with them, as they would to a funeral. They bring flowers to lay on the Christ's tomb. And so all these flowers are brought in. They're used then to decorate the tomb. And then that is brought out into the whole community once again. And the epitaphios, as it were, goes round gathering everything that is dead everywhere and turning it into life.
Now we are walking up to Syntagma Square, where we're going to meet the other epitaphia and do a bit of a circle. So it's a really special moment. There's thousands and thousands of people here. Have a look at the numbers. It's just people all the way up.
In Greek Orthodox churches all around the world, streets are blocked off on the Friday night. The epitaphia is then paraded around for all to see and remember Christ's crucifixion. I've been watching this ceremony my entire life, but being here in Athens, the feeling and atmosphere was magnified beyond my expectations. You don't need to be Christian or Greek Orthodox to be enlightened by this experience. The extent to which people adhere to their faith varies from the very devout Orthodox practitioners who regularly visit church and lead lives closely tied to their religion to those who have a more tenuous link that stems from a cultural bond rather than a spiritual one. However, at this time of the year, it seems most Greeks come together and attend their local place of worship for at least 1 or 2 church services. It's an important part of the Greek ethos that plays a major role in strengthening bonds within the community. The Greek Orthodox Church is known for keeping strict tradition. However, it has also come to embrace technology, especially in Easter week. For some decades now, they have been flying the Holy Flame, from Jerusalem all the way to Athens.
As you can see here, there are priests from all over Greece waiting for the flame. The priest in front of me is from Crete. He's got his lantern over there. There's another lantern that's just there. They'll take the flame and they'll take it right through Greece.
Amidst pomp and ceremony befitting a head of state, flame is escorted by various religious leaders and government officials into the country, where it's then used to light several candles and lanterns that are quickly spread across the country, so that even the most remote corners of Greece can share in its glow. Saturday commences with a morning service where Holy Communion is taken. But the big moment, like many others here at Easter, is celebrated by the senior-most clergy, flanked by politicians, military leaders and various VIPs. It's as if everything at the airport stops for this little flame, and then throughout Athens as the motorcade passes on its way to its final destination. The religious elements of Holy Week more or less culminate on the Saturday night. This is when the resurrection of Christ occurs. Everyone meets at their local church, carrying candles with them to be lit when the flame spreads through the crowd just after midnight. There's a tangible sense of excitement and positive energy in the air. Families gather and wait while the prayers echo through the streets. And when the priest finally announces Christos Anesti, or Christ is risen, people rejoice and celebrations begin. It's a special night of the year, and a time not only to celebrate, but be thankful for what you have. It's a part of our DNA and embedded in our culture. You don't have to be religious to understand it and spread that positive message. It's Sunday and we've been eating meat since 1 o'clock in the morning. Remember, many Greeks have been fasting for 40 days.
It's okay to speak with your mouth full here. I'm in Athens in a neighbourhood. This is the real Athens. This is where people have Easter Sunday on the street, sharing their food with their neighbours, drinking pure alcohol and having a good time. This stuff is really, really good. And this, I can't believe we're eating from five doors away, we're eating the lamb from your neighbours.
Yeah. All this street is one family, man. One family.
One family.
One family.
To me, this is what Easter is all about. Yes, the religious part is very important, but it's the coming together of people that I'm most drawn to. It's the community spirit and sharing of food and laughs. It's the singing and dancing, but most importantly, it's taking the time to be with family and friends, to celebrate life's joys and look forward to new beginnings. In the weeks ahead, I'll be heading out to sea on board Miozoi to explore many of the Ionian Islands and show you what makes this part of the world so special. It's going to be a journey of discovery filled with history, laughs, food and characters. I'm going to show you that there's so much more to Greece than its stunning beaches. For me, it's a country that's rich in culture and diverse in not only the landscapes, but also the heritage. No two islands the same. Each has its own story to tell, and I'm going to do my best to bring them to life.